Chardon. Hey, true crime fans. Welcome back to another episode of Chardon. Hey, true crime. I'm your host, Dakota. With me, as always, is the lovely Kate.
That's me.
That is her. And tonight we are bringing you Heaven's Gate Part 2.
Woohoo.
A long time coming, but today we're going to talk about a little bit more than just Heaven's Gate. We're actually going to get into the idea of cults in general. We're going to be talking about things like cult leaders. We're going to be talking about like the psychology of cults. We're going to be talking about the psychology of religion. So this is going to be kind of an interesting episode, but it's one that I felt like was really important to tell the story of Heaven's Gate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like that's kind of the whole basis for this.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and I figure Kate and I have both had very different upbringings when it comes to religion. So coming at it from the point of view of two people who have had very separate experiences would be an interesting way of doing it today. If that's just my thoughts on the whole thing.
Different insights, different experiences give different perspectives. So
exactly.
Wild how that works, right?
It's just crazy. But before we get started, cheers. Clink.
Clink.
Clink. Oh, there is still some soap in my straw.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I washed this just before we started recording, and ugh. Oh, I can taste his Dawn dish soap.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, I took another drink of wine to get rid of the taste.
Well, at least there was no grease in your straw or your wine.
I guess. But anyways, let's get started.
Yeah. So it's been a while. So when we left off, there was a large number of people that had left Waldport, Oregon, to follow the leaders T and Do.
That's right. And they had their first group of real committed followers. Some of those followers would actually continue to follow T and Do until the end of the group, and some be the people that you see most often in the documentaries and podcasts about this group.
And after leaving their lives behind, cutting off their families, and giving up everything they had known to get answers, they committed themselves to the group.
Now, that isn't to say that the group was anything like Jonestown or, say, the Alamo Christian Foundation. If people wanted to leave the group, they were allowed to, which we will talk about in upcoming episodes. But I just want it to be clear, no one was held there against their will.
Yeah, that is an important distinction.
I felt like it was, because so many times you hear about cults and you think, oh, these people are like being tortured and exploited and they're not allowed to leave and it's horrible. And it's basically the same thing that people say about freak shows, honestly. So, it's like, God, this is off topic, but I was on Facebook the other day and one of the people in one of the sideshow groups I'm in was like posting about this like weird history page on Facebook, and he posted a link and it was like a old picture of a freak show from back in the day. And the comments were insane. People were just like, these people are so exploited and it's horrible that you'd ever post something like this. And I'm sitting there like, bruh. And then there were like actual sideshow historians who were like, actually, this is, what this was really like. And they were like, how dare you try to like make it seem like it wasn't as bad as it was. And it's like, were you there? Do you know the history? No? Then shut up.
Have you been studying this?
Have you dedicated your entire life to understanding the history of this community? No? Then shut the fuck up.
Some people, man.
Sorry, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. But anyways, I felt like it was important to include the fact that nobody in Heaven's Gate was held against their will.
Yeah, this was aside from the loss of lives, but that was still voluntary. Like it's so complicated. Yeah. But like
it is.
Like aside from that aspect of it, I feel like this really is like the example, like the best example of like, I guess, a healthy cult.
You know, and we're going to discover this more in upcoming episodes, but when it comes to Heaven's Gate, yes, healthy is an okay way of putting it. Although there were plenty of manipulation topics that we will get into in the next episode. And a little bit in this episode as well, since we're going to be talking about, you know, the psychology of cults and everything. But they were basically a family. They really were, even to the end. I mean, you look at the exit letters, which is a video that they made before the suicide, and they are all talking about how happy they are. They're talking about how amazing this opportunity is, how much they've loved the past 20 years with these people, and how they've spent the past 20-something years with each other. And so many of those people had been there for over 20 years. And so then they're sitting there making these videos like, yeah, this is like my family. And for all intents and purposes, they were a family because they were together for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. And they followed T and Doe to, you know, the very end. Even after she died, they continued to follow her. And we'll get into her death in episode 3. Or maybe 4. Sorry. We're doing 5 episodes on this, so we'll get into her death on episode 4. But but yeah, this was a family. And I know that this is going to sound strange to some people who aren't going to like hearing us sitting here and saying, listen, yeah, this is a sad situation, but for them, they did what they thought was right. Unfortunately, it comes down to the fact that like a lot of people are going to be unhappy that we make that distinction, but I feel like it's a very important distinction to make. This cult is not like other cults. This is not like the Alamo Christian Foundation. This is not like Jonestown. This is not like the Manson family. This isn't like any cult that we've seen before. This isn't like the Rajneeshpuram. You know, this is something entirely different. And honestly, this is the closest I would say that the world has ever gotten to a healthy group of people who follow one leader. And
yeah, that was exactly my point.
Yeah, and I'm including all major religions in that statement. I am, and I do not I don't feel bad about making that comparison because the thing is with Heaven's Gate, they didn't judge other people. They didn't try to police other people for their own beliefs. You know, Heaven's Gate didn't believe in sex, so they didn't try to get sex outlawed. You know, like sex between same-sex partners or opposite-sex partners. They didn't try to outlaw any of that. They didn't try to, you know, outlaw having hyper feminine or hyper masculine features, even though they all dressed androgynously and cut their hair androgynously.
Wow, it's almost like they had some sort of understanding about the separation of church and state.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were happy to believe what they believed in, and they were happy to let other people believe what they believed in. And we'll get into that a lot more in the later bits of this episode. But Heaven's Gate, like I said, is an interesting group when it comes to typical cults because most of the time, like regular cults, whatever, they are willing to take entire families. However, Bonnie and Herf made it clear that only adults could join them. And if someone had kids and they wanted to join the group, they would have to make the decision to leave their children with families and come join the group. Now, giving up all human attachments was a very popular thing when it came to cults, especially for that time. Now, for most groups like Jonestown, people would sign over the deeds to their houses, they would sign over their entire life savings. And while people did desert their homes, cars, personal property, family, and children, and they did give a lot of money to T and Doe, there's no implication that they were signing over house deeds and things like that.
Yeah, they were just ditching them.
Yeah, they pretty much. Yeah, they just kind of left them for their families to deal with. You know, it's just like, hey, have you heard from Melinda lately? Because I went by her house and there was like 40 newspapers out front, and the like mailbox was like stuffed with mail. I don't know what's going on with her.
I don't know.
I heard she joined a cult. I mean, usually the cults will at least like sell the house and take all the money, right?
Yeah, you know, like I think like half of the letters sticking out were like stuff about her bank account. So
it's weird. All right. But no, it was like that. It was very much like they gave money to T and Doe. However, T and Doe didn't use it for selfish reasons like Jim Jones would.
Wow, so like this group wasn't interested in financially controlling their members? That's wild.
I mean, to be fair, Bonnie Nettles did hide the fact that she sent money to her children from the rest of the group. That is something that she did, but it wasn't huge amounts and it wasn't constantly. She would occasionally send something like $200 to her daughter, Terry Nettles, and it would be like $100 for her and then $50 for the other kids. You know, it's not a huge amount. And she would always say, don't tell the kids where this money came from. Say that you won it in a bet, or say that someone paid you back for money that you lent them or something like that. And, you know, I'll keep in touch. So Bonnie Nettles was a little bit of a hypocrite. But like I said, we'll talk more about Bonnie in episode 4 because that is important to do, in my opinion. But in this episode, we're not going to get too much into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah,
Did you swallow your spit wrong?
I guess I must have. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
But anyway,
yeah. So, I mean, were you good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. So, what were they interested in? They weren't interested in money. So what they were interested in was information. They were sharing information that they had created.
Yeah. And the information that they created is actually really interesting. They believed in the beginning that they could chemically transform their bodies biologically into new extraterrestrial bodies to ascend to the next level. Now, at this point, they're calling themselves human individual metamorphosis.
Him.
Sorry, it just makes me think of like 2 things. Number 1, him from the Powerpuff Girls.
That's where I was going.
And number 2, the band Him from Finland.
Oh, I don't know that one.
I'll play them for you sometime. They were like pretty like goth pop punk in the like early 2000s when I was a kid. They got famous because of Bam Margera. Yeah. Like, did you ever watch like Viva La Bam or anything like that?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, Bam Margera had like tattoos of their logo and like their logo all over his house and stuff. It was the heartogram logo. So it was like a pentagram, but a heart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so whenever I think of him, I think of that band. Stood for His Infernal Majesty, because of course it did. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyways, so the group decided after getting the group of converts from Waldport, Oregon, and from Los Angeles, that they should split everyone into groups of 2. Every person was given a check partner to help each other overcome their human attachments. Now, human attachments to Bonnie and Herf were things like sex, drugs, recreation. And I don't mean recreational drugs, I mean recreation.
Just like hobbies?
Yeah.
Just, yeah, you know you're knitting? Fuck it. Get rid of it.
But I'm knitting you a scarf.
No, no. No more knitting. Fuck that scarf.
Can I finish the scarf for you, please? It's your favorite color.
I won't use it.
But it gets cold out there.
I can't have it, and you shouldn't make it.
Okay.
We gotta keep each other in check here, okay?
Okay, it's fine. Do you want to have sex?
No, we can't do that.
Oh shit, you're right, you're right. I just love how high pitched you got.
It's fine.
Oh my god. Anyways. So anyways, now these Czech partners, they would pair people together to force people to confront their sexual attractions and overcome them. Heterosexual women were paired with heterosexual men, and homosexual people were paired with a Czech partner of the same sex as they were attracted to. So they'd be like, oh, you're a lesbian. Okay, so I'm going to pair you with Brandy. She's a Victoria's Secret model.
Oh, shit.
You're not allowed to have sex with her.
Fuck.
You're not allowed to feel attraction to her.
Yeah, Victoria's Secret models are the worst.
Exactly. Now, you two are going to spend every single moment of your lives together. You are going to sleep at the same time. You're going to eat at the same time. You're going to study at the same time. You're going to work together, all of that. And no sex.
Does that mean we masturbate at the same time, too?
Nope. No masturbating at all.
God damn it. Fuck. You're
not allowed to do that.
It's not sex, though.
It's still sexual attraction, and it's a sexual, like, thing, so you're not allowed to do it. What was that?
I said whatever you say.
That's right. Now, once they had their Czech partner, they were sent off into the world.
To do what?
The sound screen like fell down slightly. All right. So rather than traveling together as a group, the Czech partners were sent off into the world to overcome their human attachments. They would travel the country, meeting up occasionally, but it's not like they had a set meeting time or place or anything like that. They just kind of had to like figure it out, basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sounds very organized. Did they have like a mailing list or something, like to call a meeting?
So sometimes they would send out a postcard to like a PO box in a certain town and tell people to meet them in a certain place. But I mean, it was super disorganized. So a lot of the times people would get to that time, or they would get there and there would be no one there. Or they wouldn't get the mail until like weeks later, and they were just sort of like, oh, what to do? And that is actually something that brought forth some of the manipulation tactics. There was a meeting one time where where a lot of people didn't show up for the meeting. So T and Doe said to them, you know what, we're going to have to go take a break and see what it is that we did that failed all of you. Because obviously there's something wrong with us and we're a failure if like your whole class can't even show up for a meeting. And then they like left for an hour or two. And then when they came back, everyone was like sobbing and like, we're so sorry. Please don't mad at us.
They pulled the whole "we're not mad, we're just disappointed" thing.
Oh, it wasn't even that. It was just like, well, whatever we did wrong, it's obviously our fault that you guys don't want to learn about how to ascend to the next level. So, and everyone was like, no, we want to. And it's like, well, if you really wanted to, then the rest of your class would be here. They're pitting class members against each other because that's what they called themselves at the time. They called themselves a class.
Class rivalry.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Pretty much. What?
That's pretty classy of them.
Wow. I hate you.
I thought it, and then I was just like, oh, she's gonna get mad.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Oh my God. All right. Anyways, so people just, one might ask, how did they keep people in the group?
Yeah.
But it basically came down to people really wanted to turn into aliens and leave Earth, which, you know what? Mood.
Yeah, like their whole thing about like being able to chemically change yourself biologically to become an alien, like honestly, that just yeah.
You know what? We would do that.
Just, you know what? Sign me the fuck up.
Exactly.
I want to achieve my final form.
We're not being facetious here either. We would honestly do that if we had the chance.
Yeah, seriously. If I had the chance to become an alien and leave this fucking planet, I would be there in 2 fucking seconds.
All of our life savings down the fucking toilet. Who needs it anymore? Not us.
Can I bring my Minnie Mouse blanket though?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Anyways, so sometimes when people weren't able to find them, some of the people would end up going back home. So of course they lost some members, and some still would do anything they could to find them. One such instance being the time that a couple of Czech partners took out an ad in the newspaper trying to find T and Do.
Oh my God.
Fucking clingy.
Like, I mean, that's one way to do it.
Definitely. But also, you clingy.
Yeah. Why is that me, though?
It really is. It really fucking is.
Lost leaders, have you seen these people?
I mean, listen, I don't want to be a bitch or anything, but I'm going to go ahead and be a bitch right now. Okay? Because, like, it's just too easy. I have to. Like, can you imagine just trying really fucking hard to find, let me find the picture. Can you imagine trying really fucking hard to find these fucking people?
Yeah.
Just imagine you're traveling around the country and you're looking for these people. Those are the people you're looking for.
You are desperately looking for people who are the visual representation of, like, I don't know, like plain Cheerios.
Non-flavored yogurt.
Unfrosted mini wheats.
Saltines.
Oh no, worse. Water crackers.
They are tap water incarnate. And not even spicy tap water like Flint's tap water, just tap water.
They are room temperature crappy tap water.
They're like Dasani.
See, Dasani is like distinct though. Dasani
You're right. These
distinct
two are not very distinct. I will give you that. So
Dasani is distinct in a negative way. They are nondescript, undistinct, plain.
They're like boiled chicken. Right? Right? They're like boiled chicken with no seasoning, nothing like that. It's like what white people pass off as chicken. What?
That just made me think of that post. Like, I went to a friend's house one time and they served peanut butter and jellies for dinner. And I was like, where's dinner? And they said, that's dinner. And I said, I have to go home.
Oh, it reminded me of the post where this woman was like, black woman was talking to a white guy on Tinder. And he's like, I can cook for you. I make spicy chicken tacos. And she's like, oh, how do you season your chicken? And he's like, oh, with black pepper. And she was like, how is it spicy? What makes it spicy though? And he was just like, well, the black pepper gives it a kick. And she unmatched from him.
It's like my dad. Ooh,
yeah.
This steak and bake's kind of spicy.
What?
This shake and bake's kind of spicy.
I think we have to kill your dad. I don't see any way around it. We have to kill him.
Yeah, like I had to make sure you heard me there. Like,
yeah, I saw you leaning into the mic and everything, and I was like, I wasn't sure that I had heard you correctly on that one.
It actually came up in conversation the other day. I don't remember what it was. He was saying that like something was a little bit spicy, but like
I need to take a drink. I
understand. But, you know, he was like, yeah, you know, like they're just like a little bit spicy. And I was like, you mean like the shake and bake was spicy, old man? And he was just like, look, the shake and bake that day was a little
had seasoning. I'm sorry. The shake and bake that day, what?
Was a little spicy. So it was just like, all shake and bake same, sir.
I'm just gonna go ahead and just really quick. Is that your father? Is that a picture of your father? Is that him?
They are both him.
They are both him.
Congratulations, we have found my father.
There you go. We found him.
It's them.
It's them. They are both your father.
It took two people to father this bullshit. I broke her.
How is shake and bake spicy?
I don't know. I wasn't even there for the shake and bake that day, so I can't even like attest to it, but Polly was there for it. And he was just like, I almost just got up and left.
Almost. I've walked out on your dad in the middle of stories before because I was just like, nope, can't handle this. This is too much white for me. And listen, I know that I look white AF. Okay. I understand that. However, I am Cuban. I am Italian. I am Native American. And then my mom just so happens to be English and Italian. So I look like this.
However, Cuban.
Yeah. My great grandma was Cuban.
I am Italian, German, and English, so
You're white as shit.
Yeah. I'm toast covered in olive oil.
Yeah, hardly, but okay.
Dipped in olive oil?
It's like, you know, when you go to like a one of those white people Italian restaurants like Buca di Beppo, and they give you that like plate of like olive oil and balsamic, and then they give you that like white bread to dip in it. That's you.
I'm bruschetta.
You're welcome.
Yay!
White AF, but you get some olive oil. So there you go. No, we are really off topic right now. But
you really sent us down a spiral with that picture.
Yeah. But I mean, now we know who those people were spending all that time trying to find. Those fucking white ass people. Goddamn nerds. Anyways, so yeah.
So, like, do we know what this group was doing all over the country?
Oh, thank you for getting us back on track. All right. So we do know that some people took jobs making money to try and give back to the group and, you know, trying to be able to pay for all of the gas that they needed schlepping across the country, you know?
So they were just out living, like just doing normal people things?
Pretty much, but they are not the only ones who are in the hunt for the leaders. Now, see, in that time, there had been a lot of cults, and a lot of people had been looking for their family members who had been brought into the world of cults. And because of that, there was a growing movement of people either kidnapping their family members back, or there was a movement where they would pay people to do it and deprogram the people who had fallen victims to the cults.
I mean, like, I can understand where they're coming from there, but like, that seems a little in certain situations that seems appropriate, but in this
let me give you an example. Okay, think about it this way. Imagine Chloe. Let's imagine Chloe. Okay, your sister, your best sibling, etc. So imagine Chloe starts attending meetings for a new group. She claims that this new guru knows all the answers. And at first it's like, whatever, you know, your relationship isn't that much different from how it normally is. Everything's fine. But every now and then she mentions these little meetings that she's been going to, right? So then imagine it starts coming up more often, and it starts creeping into her personality more, and her personality starts changing a little bit, and you're just sort of like, this is strange. This isn't typical Chloe behavior. And then it becomes her entire personality, and all she wants to talk about is this group that she's seeing, and all she wants to talk about is the leader of this group and the things that they're teaching her. And then, you know, this doesn't really seem like something that you're prepared to deal with. And then she disappears. Maybe she leaves a note, maybe she doesn't. But your family, your sister, leaves to join this group. Now, maybe the group stays in the area. Maybe they travel to a different state. Maybe they travel across the country or even to a different country. And you're scared because this is the 70s or like the 80s. This is the era of bad things happening to groups. Things like Charles Manson's family all being arrested for 7 murders. Things like the members of the People's Temple all being murdered. And then imagine someone coming to you and saying, I understand your fear. I understand what you're going through, but guess what? I can fix it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot.
Do you get it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you're as close with your sister as I am.
Exactly. But, you know, that's why I used her as an example. Because if I said Polly, you wouldn't care.
That's mean. He doesn't watch this. We can't make fun of him when he's not paying attention. Then that's mean.
Yes, we can. He never pays attention to us.
Shit, you right.
I was at your house for like 3 days before he acknowledged that I was there one time.
he just does that. He doesn't talk to anyone in the house.
I'm not just anyone. I'm a fucking delight. But anyway, so that's not what happened with Nancy Brown. That Nancy was the mother of David Moore, who left to join the group. Now, Nancy wanted to be able to keep in contact with her son, so she tried everything. She put out ads in newspapers. She called other people who had been dealing with the group. She called people who had children or family members in the group. And eventually, she started the first long-distance support group for family members of people who had joined Heaven's Gate. Yeah. Now, at the time, an answering machine was super expensive, but she bought one just in case her son found out that she was looking for him and tried to call. And eventually, one day, she came home after work and grocery shopping to a red light blinking on her answering machine. And when she played back the tape, because in those days, answering machines were like a cassette tape inside of like a little machine. So it was basically a tape recorder attached to your phone.
She had a recording of somebody telling her that her car's warranty had expired.
Exactly. Hi, Nancy. We're here to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. Yeah, no. And through all of the warranty calls, finally one day David called her.
They let him?
So sometimes they would actually bend the rules. They did it for a 71-year-old woman who they allowed to stay in contact with her family, but we'll discuss that more later. But they let David call to try and get Nancy to calm the fuck down and stop trying to find them.
Oh.
Yeah, they were like, oh my God, David, your mom is like so embarrassing. And he's like, oh my God, I know, right? I'm like so sorry, you guys. I just like... oh my God, I don't know what to do. And they're like, David, so do you think you can like do us a quick little favor? Just like real quick. It'll just be like a thing, you know, if you could do it for us. Just
yeah. What do you need? What do you need?
So you need to call your mom and tell her to shut the fuck up and stop trying to find us.
Like on the phone?
Yeah.
And like talk to my mother?
Yes.
Who I left to join the group?
Mm-hmm.
That like against the rules?
Yeah, so hi, Bonnie Nettles here. I need you to fucking call her and tell her to shut the fuck up. Who is in charge here? Who's in charge, David? Who is your teacher?
You.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And am I telling you to do something right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so does that mean that it's against the rules if I'm telling you to do it? If I'm telling you to do something, you better fucking do it, David.
Okay.
Okay, so call your mom.
Okay.
Here's a quarter. There's a phone. Go.
All right. Okay, it's ringing.
Okay. All right.
It's beeping. Huh. Oh, it's one of those answering machine things. Hi, Mom.
There you go.
Hi, Mom. Mom. Hey, it's me. So, you gotta chill out, and I'm fine. We're all good here in this place that I'm not going to tell you, and you need to you got to stop trying to find me because I'm not going to come home.
Tell her to stop contacting other parents.
Anna, you need to stop contacting other parents because that's
close down the support groups
and shut down the support groups because that's really you just look you just look bad. It's a bad look for you, Mom.
Tell her it's awkward.
It's so awkward. Oh my God, you have no idea how much everybody's laughing at you.
Tell her it makes you look like a nerd.
And like everyone in the group says that it's making me look like a real nerd. Like I look like a mama's boy now because my mom won't stop trying to find me. So stop trying to find me. Okay, love you. Bye.
To be honest, that's not actually far off from the voicemail that David left his mother. Kate has never heard that voicemail, to be fair.
No, I have not.
Kate is so the way that it works is I do the research, I write the episodes, and Kate is learning all about all of this along with all of you. Except for like the cases that she does actually know a little bit about.
Yeah,
That
every
happens
once in a
occasionally.
while.
Every once in a blue moon.
Ah, my eyeball.
You good?
I think I got a cat hair in my eyeball.
Mango or Florence?
Probably Mango.
Probably. He's in your room more often than Florence. But anyway. So anyways, it's not far off from what David said to his mom. It was along the lines of like, hey, if you like chill out, maybe they'll let me contact you more often. Which isn't to say that he did contact her more often. There was actually only 2 times that David contacted his mother, Nancy. And of those 2 times, he actually went home and spent some time with her. And that was in the 90s, shortly before he committed suicide, because David was one of the 39. Yeah. But anyways, so I know that, all right, so we're going to be talking for the rest of this episode about the human belief system.
Oh yeah, this is where it's really going to get interesting.
Yeah. Now, listen, I know that I have a lot of thoughts on the human belief system, and listen, I definitely do. And I'm not always shy about my thoughts and beliefs on belief system and everything. However, I am not going to spend the whole, 20 minutes that we have left of this episode talking about my beliefs. I'm going to talk about the belief system of others and why so many people are so willing to listen to someone that they think has all of the answers. Now, I've been working on this whole segment for a while. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic to me. And I mean, this has to be interesting to you too, Kate, because of your history with religion.
Oh yeah, you and I have very different experiences with our religious experiences. Like I had basically like the full like born into religion and like religious upbringing. I only had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only had 5 years of my life where I was not in some sort of religious school. And that it's very interesting going through all of that and then kind of coming out the other side and being like, how did I get sucked into all that? But like, it's not being sucked into it when you're born into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And meanwhile, I personally I was not born into that sort of lifestyle. My grandmother was a Catholic, and she used to give my mom a lot of shit for not getting me baptized or getting me, put into like all that Catholic nonsense and everything. I say Catholic nonsense. Listen, I am speaking only from my own experience and my own beliefs. If you are a Catholic, if you are any certain religion, we accept that. And we support your right to choose because we are pro-choice here.
Yeah. None of what we say is meant to be disrespectful. It's just based on like what we have experienced personally and just kind of like what we know of the human experience, basically.
Exactly. So basically, I was not raised a religious person. I fell into it strictly because I was bored. I'm not joking. I grew up in a town called Fillmore, California. In Fillmore, California, we were in the Guinness Book of World Record for having the most number of churches in a square mile. True story.
I miss visiting you there. I know there wasn't a whole lot there, but I did like that little town.
Yeah, it was a weird, funky little town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it had charm.
Yeah. It's like
from a visitor's perspective.
Yeah,
as a local, exactly. I could say
living there was hell. And it's actually really funny. I made a new friend at work yesterday. I made a new friend at work yesterday, and she actually grew up like 45 minutes away from Fillmore.
Oh, that's funny.
In Santa Barbara. Yeah. Because
wow. that came out of nowhere. Excuse
It
me.
really did. Oh my God. No, she grew up in Santa Barbara. So like we started talking. I was like, oh my God, have you had that mission wine though? And like she was just like, oh my God, did we just become best friends? I was like, we definitely became friends. Actually, I gotta text her. It was really cute. At the end of the night, she came up with this like little piece of paper and she was just like, here's my phone number. I was like, thank you, Laura. And she's also the only one of the hosts at the restaurant I work at that's like near my age because everyone else is like 18 to 20 and she's 27. And I'm just like, thank God, no more children.
My God, seriously. I'm 25 and I work with so many 19-year-olds and I'm just like, hello?
Yeah. Anyways, no, I literally got into religion because I was bored because there was a youth group that my stepsister, who was 8 months older than me, went to. And I was bored. I had nothing to do. Once I got into junior high, I was able to go to that youth group. So I started going to the youth group and fell into religion for like half a minute. And then I came out as a bisexual at the time. I've now realized that I'm more pan-romantic. But anyway, I don't want to get into my sexual preferences or any of that. Anyways, it was a stepping stone to helping me figure out that I didn't need to be a part of the Christian church, basically. That's basically what it was for me. But anyways, so what I want to talk about is religion, but it's also gurus, because gurus are an important thing when it comes to this topic. They're all right. So when I talk about gurus, more often than not, it is in reference to holy men from India. However, in Western culture, the word has taken a new meaning, and it's generally used to describe any person who sees themselves or portrays themselves as a spiritual leader. Now, one of India's greatest holy men, Ramana Maharishi, often said that the role of a guru was to push the student inside in order to see the guru within, as the true guru is within each and every one of us. Now, that is something that I personally, I commend him for saying that. It is up to the teacher to teach their students to see the teacher within themselves, is basically what that statement means. However, in Western culture, the idea of a guru has been perverted not just by the Indian masters, but by the white people who have followed the Indian masters. And it has been turned into something, frankly, gross. I'm going to say it. It's gross.
Of course, it was the white people who did that.
Of course, it was the white people who did it. Gurus started coming over in the 60s. And people started getting really into like Eastern religions in the 60s. The Beatles had their own fucking guru, for God's sakes. Now, I love the Beatles. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love the Beatles. But you're not a huge Beatles fan, are you?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nothing against them. I just don't vibe with it. Like their music will get stuck in my head, and I'll be like, okay, whatever. But
yeah, no, I went through a huge '60s phase when I was like young. I don't know, a teenager.
When you were young,
over 10 years ago. What?
When you were young years old.
Yeah, exactly. When I was young years old. No, about 15 years ago. Which is horrible for me to say. Jesus Christ.
Don't think about the passage of time. Keep going.
I'm sorry. It happens every once in a while and it throws me. No. So anyways, basically what I am getting at is that the gurus A guru encourages adoration and dependence and obedience to them and only them. A lot of the times, the guru will claim that they are the only person who knows the true way to enlightenment, to heaven, or whatever you want to believe in. The guru will claim that they are the only way to get there. And that is something that has been perverted by Western indulgence, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, that's a fair term to use, I'd say.
Yeah. They will call their followers babies or treat them like children. Therefore, the student feels inferior and the teacher appears all-knowing and superior, like what happened with the guy who created yoga, basically.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The guy who like started Bikram yoga, his name was Bikram. I covered him over a year ago.
I mean, yoga's been around for a long time.
Well, yeah, no, yoga has been around for a long time, but Bikram yoga, which was created by Bikram Choudhury, although it wasn't technically created by him, but it was like brought to the West by him. Anyways,
it was copywritten by him.
Basically. Anyways, so Bikram Choudhury, he would, treat his followers like, oh, I'm the only one who can help you. I'm the only one who can make you a true yogi and shit like that. And meanwhile, he, sexually assaulted a fuck ton of people.
Love that.
As it happens, as it happens with people who are put into this position of power over a lot of people. Jim Jones had a sex schedule, okay? Tony Alamo fucked to anything that moved, mostly 14-year-old girls. I'm saying it here so that you hear me. He fucked 14-year-olds. Jim Jones fucked children too. Charles Manson fucked little girls and anything that moved and had several children and would leave the children outside in the middle of the night, like in the cold, to see if they were strong enough to survive the elements. Who knows how many of Charles Manson's children died in the elements, because he would literally leave a newborn baby outside overnight.
Just guess what, sir? That's not how babies fucking work.
It's not. But people want to believe. There is an inherent need for answers in Western culture. And honestly, I think that it comes from the school system, in my belief. We are raised for I know that I'm going to sound like a fucking, I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist right now. I know that. But I acknowledge that.
Well, just get it out then.
But I want you to listen to what I'm saying right now, and you tell me if you understand what I'm saying. And I would like anyone who's watching to reply in the comments and let me know what you're thinking about what I have to say about this. We are raised from the age of 5 years old to 18 years old to listen to an authority figure, and that's the bare minimum, to listen to an authority figure who teaches us everything that we have to know. We do not get all of our knowledge from our parents. We don't get all of our knowledge from our religious leaders. We don't get all of our knowledge from anyone other than teachers. It is teachers from the age of 5 years old when we start kindergarten to 18 years old when we get out of high school. However, there's an additional 4 years, depending on how long you want to go to college, where you are listening to teachers yet again. Teachers are absolutely able to make up their own minds about what what spin they want to put onto such and such. There are teachers that I've had that didn't understand how German names worked. I'm not joking.
What?
Oh yeah, no. I had an English teacher when I lived in Fillmore who called Anne Frank's sister Margaret. Her name was Margot. Yeah. And when I pointed that out, she said, well, why is there a T at the end? Yeah.
Why is there a T at the end of bouquet?
It's a
fucking
bouquet.
French, dumbass.
It's a bouquet. It's pronounced bouquet.
It's because you put your flowers in a bouquet.
Exactly. No, literally, I have had teachers my entire life who tried to spout their own nonsense. I had a science teacher who told me that, who told the class, not just me, who told the class that they had to teach evolution, but they didn't believe in it. A science teacher. I had teachers who would let Christian youth ministers onto school grounds to try and recruit children ages 12 to 13 to go to their youth groups.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
See, like I'm trying to think about it, and like in all of the years that I went to religious school, I would say, like, I honestly can't think of anything that I was ever really told that, like, you know, except when I was in high school when, like, I really, like, fell out of my belief. I can't really think of anything that I was ever told where I was like, you just fucking made that up.
I heard a lot of it. I went to... I went to 7 different schools throughout my years in school. Yeah. So, well, technically 8, I guess. Yeah, 8 different schools throughout my years in school. I went to kindergarten in New Orleans, 1st and 2nd grade at one school, 3rd grade at one school, but then I got sick and they bumped me from school. They literally bumped me out of school because I got sick one day. I'm not joking. And I got sent to a different 3rd grade, went to a 4th grade, went to 5th grade at a different school. Yeah, this is all different schools, by the way. And then I was homeschooled for 6th grade. 7th and 8th grade, I went to Fillmore Middle School. 9th grade, I was homeschooled. And then 10th and 11th grade, I went to an online high school. And then I dropped out halfway through 11th grade to focus on working. So 8 different schools throughout my life. And I have had a plethora of teachers who have taught, well, and I guess, you know, preschool, but does that count? I don't know. Does preschool count? I had a really cool preschool teacher. We're still in contact.
Yeah, I went to...
That was in New Orleans, too.
Yeah, I went to 5 different schools. Like preschool through 4th grade was one school. Then then 5th and 6th grade was another school. 5th and 6th grade, and then 7th and 8th grade, I can't fucking count, was another school. Then I went to 9th grade at the high school by my house, and then sophomore through senior year I went to my other high school.
Did you graduate high school?
Oh,
you never talk about it, so I just don't know. Did you like go to prom and stuff like that?
I went to prom my senior year. I really wish I had gone my junior year, but I was like, I'm not close enough with anybody in my class, so like, yeah. I don't really have anybody I'd want to hang out with. But I really wish I had gone because it was at the aquarium.
What? The aquarium that we went to?
Oh,
that would have been cute.
Yeah. But for my senior year, we had winter formal at the Natural History Museum. That was fucking cool.
We got lit.
We got to dance underneath the giant like whale display. That's like you can.
I haven't been to the Natural History Museum down there, so next time I'm in San Diego, we should go. Okay?
Yes, we should.
I love museums.
I fucking love museums and aquariums.
Okay, so you know how, Kate, you know how you and I are going to go to New Orleans when I turn 30? Like after I turn 30. So I'm going to take you to the aquarium in New Orleans because it's fucking amazing. And this one time, these people fell through the walkway over the shark tank and landed in the shark tank. And they were like freaking out. And the sharks were just like, no, thank you.
The sharks were just like, fuck, God.
Who invited you? No, thank you. And the people are like, oh my God, sharks. And the sharks are like, people. The sharks are like, oh my God, people.
And meanwhile, you'd be in there like, oh no, shark.
Oh no. Oh no, me swimming at the sharks. The aquarium people, ma'am, please get away from the sharks. Me, I just want to hug it.
I can't. I don't know how to swim. I'm stuck in here. I guess I'll just have to stay here forever.
I'm glad you understand my unhealthy obsession with sharks. Thank you.
It's fine. You're fine. Oh my god. My sister
No,
went
I
to
told
visit
you.
her my sister went to visit her in-laws in Santa Cruz a couple weeks ago, and they went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Oh, I want to go there, and I want to go to the Long Beach Aquarium, like, so bad.
Oh my god, seriously.
But anyways, no, so what I was gonna say was, when I went on that cruise and I went snorkeling with the stingrays and stuff, there was a 9-foot nurse shark at the bottom of the like snorkeling area, and they were like, you can touch anything in here, just not the shark. And I was like treading water, and I was like, but please. And they were like, no. They were like, no, leave the shark alone. I was like, but please. they were like, how about this? We'll let you hold a 6-foot stingray. And I was like,
that's not a shark though.
Okay. Yeah.
But baby.
It was a big baby, and I was the only one that got to hold it because I was the strongest swimmer there until that child tried to drown me. I'm still mad about that.
Did you see that big kitty I sent you on Instagram today?
Yes, it was amazing. Anyways, so listen, gurus in America have been, the idea of a guru is a very interesting idea. My mom has even gone to someone who I personally would describe as a guru. She's a life coach. She's Indian. She's a life coach. I would consider her a guru because of what my mother has told me about her and everything. However, my mom isn't one of those people that's like, I'm just going to follow this lady that I've seen.
Your mom's too smart for that.
That I've seen. Yeah. However, the idea of a guru system in America has been completely fucked. And the people who have seen that system is completely fucked are the ones that have become these leaders in a sort of way. There was the guy who started the Rajneesh cult in Oregon. I think it was in Oregon. There, was obviously Jim Jones, who was a preacher person. There was Charles Manson. There's so many people and so many examples. And the basic thing that it comes down to is people are willing to listen to someone who says that they have all the answers.
And is convincing.
Exactly. People are willing to listen to someone who claims that they have all the answers. People want the answers. And this is something that has plagued me my entire life. I have personally looked for answers. I have. And belief systems and everything. And while I personally don't have a strict belief system these days, I understand the desire to know what happens next. It's the idea of what happens after death that gets these people interested and gets these people hooked.
Just, it's curiosity and anxiety.
It is. It really is. And people have a lot of curiosity and a lot of anxiety about what happens after we die. And when there's someone that comes along and says, I have the answers for what happens after we die, they want the answers and they want to believe it. And if it's something that can sort of fit into their realm of possibility, they will be willing to follow it no matter what. And
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that's what happened with Heaven's Gate. However, Heaven's Gate is unlike any of these other cults that we have ever or will ever cover, because Heaven's Gate is the group that has taken it to a different level, number one. But number two, it is a group that spent over 20 years searching.
Yeah. And when it comes to something like this, you don't, you're not going to hook people in right away with,
No.
we're going to turn into aliens and leave this planet.
No.
Like, you started, like, with something like this, yeah, it starts out with something that makes very, like, not necessarily logical sense, but probable sense. Like, it sounds like something that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about it long enough, it could make sense.
Kate, there is another level of human consciousness. We only use 20% of our brain power every single day. What is up with the other 80% of our brain? Do you think there is a way that we could unlock the full potential of our brain and bring it to another level of consciousness?
Honestly, not really.
That's an example I'm using.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I've heard that's not true.
Yeah, no, I know. But think about it from the point of view of someone who hasn't heard that. We only use 20% of our brain power. There is a way to unlock the rest of our brain power. And when we do that, we will be able to ascend to the next level of consciousness. Imagine all of the things that we aren't sensing because our brains are locked up tight.
Vegan power.
They say that there's only 5 senses. Well, what if there's more? We only see things on a 3D plane. What if there's more than 3D planes? What if there's 4D planes? What if there's like 8D planes? What if there's an entire different universe cohabitating around us that we can't even see?
See, I do believe I have a small semblance of belief in the multiverse theory, so that's just kind of like
Exactly. And I get that, but this is the kind of stuff.
Like for my whole belief system, like for me, it's like everything that I believe, it's because I'm like choosing to believe it, and I am fully aware of that too. Like, like, you're probably gonna get mad at me for this, but like it's very similar to like my belief in Bigfoot and Nessie. I choose to believe that they are real. I don't know how likely it actually is.
Admittedly, I understand that, but I also think that you're wrong because they're definitely real.
And I respect that. I wholeheartedly respect that. I am not going to sit here and say that you are wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say there's no way that that's possible. I want them to be real. So I will
scientifically, there is possibility that they are real. However, I'm not going to get into that. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, but like I fully respect that you believe in your heart that they are real. I hope in my heart that they are real. That's what it is for me. For me, it's a matter of hope. Because like I want it to be true. And I feel like for a lot of people who are in like different religions and who do get like into these whole type of cult environments, I feel like that's really what it is for them too. Like they call it faith, but it's really just kind of a stab in the dark and a lot of fucking hope that you're right.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not even, but to them, it's not hope. To them, it's like, I know this is true because.
And that is how it was with a lot of the people that I went to church with. And, I every once in a blue moon find them on Facebook or something and look at what they're posting. And it's a lot of, I know that God is true and God has done all of this for me. And there's no one that can shake my faith. When I was in church, I was told that the questions I was asking were inappropriate because I wasn't putting blind faith in God. I was told that I was supposed to not ask questions and just put blind faith in God into everything that I did, and that God would always, number 1, provide. Okay. And number 2, would always be like the only beacon of light in my life or whatever.
Yeah, my high school thought that God would always provide, and then they got bought out of their lease, and now they don't exist anymore.
No comment.
Yeah, God really provided there, didn't it?
No comment. Anyways, so I know that we didn't talk too much about Heaven's Gate today, but we'll get back into that next week. We definitely have a lot more to say about Heaven's Gate, but I feel like this episode was important so that we could sort of talk about the human belief system and why we think that people believe the things that they do.
Yeah, exactly. Because like without that, Heaven's Gate doesn't happen.
Exactly. Without that belief and that faith and all of that, none of these cults happen. None of this is anything that like really truly exists or anything like that. Like, they all they made their choices and I respect them for it, but at the same time, I'm just sort of like, okay, that is what you chose to believe in.
Exactly. Like
they say that it's not a choice. Religious types, they all say that like they're like homosexuality for existence. They say homosexuality is a choice. And when I say things like, oh, so when did you choose to believe in God? They say things like, well, it's not a choice to believe in God. You just know that he's there.
Explain me then.
Yeah.
Explain my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, I was brought up with it. I was brought up knowing that God was real. I grew up that was just facts. God was real.
You and I would not have been friends before we became friends. Not. We would not have been friends before we became friends.
Yeah, seriously. But no, like my whole experience like was, God was real. Jesus died for our sins. I am a sinner, but God has forgiven me. And I have to like live my life to be worthy of that forgiveness, basically. And
I'm sorry, Rocky just like laid against my door and I can hear him whining.
Oh,
I'm not letting him in my room right now though, because I don't have sheets on my bed and I'm not getting fucking dog hair in my mattress.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But as I got older, like when I went to a Christian school, when I transferred back out of public school, I was kind of like, I don't know if any of that actually makes sense anymore. Like not hearing it every single day, I was like, does that actually add up? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And learned a little bit more about like science of the world and everything. I was like, okay, so does that actually make any sense to have God involved there? And I had a point when I went to my Christian high school where I made the decision. I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this and just like put blind faith out there and just, I'm going to try to get, I'm just going to basically I'm going to try to get back in that, like that sense of like absolute confidence that this is the truth. And guess what?
What?
Nothing happened.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. And I understand that. I really do. And it's interesting because when I was religious, it was only for about 2 years. I did the whole going to youth group every week. I went like 2 times a week. I tried to make it 3 times a week, but I couldn't get a ride to the other youth group I wanted to go to. But I went to youth group a lot. I fell really into the Christian thing. And it just, I came out and I talked to my youth pastor about it. And I was like, listen, I'm attracted to all genders. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's not, I was like, I don't believe that I'm going to go to hell for that. And he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, no, totally. Like, I don't believe that you're going to go to hell for that either, as long as you believe in Jesus. And I was like, well, yeah, I think I believe in Jesus. And then that, like the next week, the whole sermon was about how all gays are going to hell. And I had this moment where I was just like, oh, this is directed at me. okay. And then that guy ended up being like super creep and everything. I saw his son years later and he was like, oh yeah, I'm Dion's son. Cause yeah, I'm gonna fucking name drop. But I was like, oh, your dad was like the biggest fucking creep I've ever met in my life. And he was just like, yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot what I was just gonna say. Hold on a second. It was
Okay.
kind of along a similar vein. Oh, I remember. So when I was going to a religious school, I still always hated going to church and chapel. Like it was just the bane of my fucking existence.
It's so boring.
It's so boring.
So
But
boring.
the thing is, like by the time I got to high school, I was very much like, I had no fucking idea of my sexuality. I had suppressed it very deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the Gay Straight Alliance when I was in 9th grade at public school. Didn't have that at my Christian school.
Of course you didn't.
But I very distinctly remember there was one time when I went to, my mom dragged me to church with her one Sunday, and the whole thing was about like basically like being a hypocrite, and the pastor said something about like, that's like saying like you believe the word of God and you believe like everything he says, but you have no problem having a homosexual to preach your sermon. And that was the moment that I checked out. That was when I was just like, oh, I see what this place is about. No thank you. No thank you very much anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've never.
You know how they say that people don't quit jobs, they quit managers?
Yeah.
I feel like that's akin to people don't quit God, they quit church.
I actually saw this like whole long post that really kind of summed it up for me, basically. And it was like, people who are like raised in religion and like they are like they're taught the word of God from a young age, and they grow up and they grow out of it. It's more likely that they've understood it a lot better than the people who are preaching it.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand that God is supposed to be much more loving and generous and I don't know, caring than they make it.
Every youth pastor I ever had was not raised religious. They found God after some big rock bottom moment. So I will say that, like, yeah, probably. But we have definitely gone on for over our time.
We just have a lot to say about this.
We really do. We really do. I think that it is a good point for us to say goodnight, and we can pick up more talk on religion and Heaven's Gate in the next episode. What do you think, Kate?
I think everything else. No, well, not everything else, but I think we will have to pick this up next week.
I agree. So until next week, say goodnight, Kate.
Good night, Kate.
Any final thoughts?
Just don't act like you know everything when you're full of shit.
Exactly. Good night, and you don't know everything.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Goodbye. Good night.